call it like a writing matrix. Hold on. First, you start with ultimatums. We haven't had the luxury of throwing ultimatums at each other from inside the same room, but it'd be like, alright, got a couple options here. If you're really super eager about things right now, you can either come out here and be best friends with me and my cousins for a little bit, at a formative time in their lives. You can stay right where you are, but log into that damn video game before my subscription expires. And we exchange our FaceTimes. That's the most logical. I don't expect you to move again. Or you calm down, let me do my thing, but literally you'll be traveling as if through time, just to like, why hasn't he said a thing yet? Why hasn't he done this? Why have I never heard him talk about his mom? Why when I hear him talk about his mom, it's not so elegant or melodious or musical? This man has no heart. I'm going to react by putting stickers all over his walking path that say, right now I think you hate all women. It's like, okay. So we'll go with writing matrices. Like, what is what's the organization? So the cat went away in a box today. And everyone's sad. But what's the organizational box? Right, you got an entire group of people that are like, don't put God in a box. And then, but you have a compartmentalization process, like, alright, knowing what I know and ignoring, what do you call it? Ignoring the disclosed negative portions of the adversity to get to this point. Like, that could all turn into a lyric at some point, yeah? One is the lens. You're still writing and or when I'm consuming media, I'm consuming it at a different rate now. At a different, the condensation from my water got this book a little wet. I forgot to be jovial with everyone else. But it's still Sunday somewhere. Have some bread, have some wine, do it in his remembrance. I did not think I'd make it to church today, but looking at Jobin, so maybe next week. No, I'm not avoiding it because he's Indian. So if we're going to go writing matrix, so we're going to pivot a little bit, because it's still applicable to what I'm writing down here. All content groups that are paying attention to me act like a jerk in front of everybody, or potentially in front of everybody by making niche content available. Right now these are just notes, but they'll become more. So writing matrix is the lens. The lens lens. The system in which I am writing from, I am forcing an assumption on the audience because I'm forcing this upon myself. There's two things. Both are women. One is a mother, and one is somebody who, quite frankly, means the world to me, with or without the story resolved. But we're looking at 13 years since my mom passed, given the information I have, given the surviving the outside stimulation of those who may have either rejoiced or people who, or just the simple absence of the support groups that I personally built myself. The world truly changed before my mom died. So we're in a place where it's like neither here nor there. The way I had to deal with grief and the way I had to write consistently, well, I had to consider every possible outcome. But really, when they shove the remains of a person or a family member, in the case of a cat or a dog, in a box or an urn, we're not going to talk about the metaphysical or anything. We're going to talk about you or the me in the mirror that I'm staring at every day. It's like this holiday, this day has changed. All your sleep patterns change. Everything that meant something to you yesterday might not mean that much more when you're so like we've got a jovial attempt at me working on teaching like the lens in the first video is, imagine I'm helping Kyrie with her sales pitch. It's not like anyone was surprised that the cat would be leaving us. That you after a certain point, there's no surprise that your mom would be leaving you. So I've got a song I haven't even finished re-recording because I don't have my studio, but I have in the last couple of days realized I have the means to make a song. Do I make it? Because it's more work than previous years that I could have made it, but I didn't have the thing that makes me make a song, or a series of songs, or complete her song. Now, the irony of my mom is, now here's the writing matrix, share some of the, your mom is the one holding the gun that shoots you in the foot in most cases, because there's a relationship with my mom where some of her decisions kept me from being the musician I turned into, and it just being really ironic. There's no way around it. It's like I tried to catch up. By the time I'm 18, I'm trying to undo a Christmas present that was, quote, Indian gifted to me. It was given, then taken, right? So, but only predicated on so my mom had an interesting listening problem. She encouraged the interest in music, and she, on the surface, was like, I like Michael Jackson. Merry Christmas. Here's a keyboard, and here's a music book with official staff paper, treble clef, bass clef, all of it. I could have learned from the best, right? That book I wouldn't be surprised if one of the girls grabbed that at the garage sale that my dad had. They grabbed my keyboard and they sold my own keyboard back to me. But that's still, I used that keyboard to question the genitals that Taylor Swift was born with, and we'll get back to that at a later time. However, never waste a time while mourning to just shove it back in everyone's face, okay? That's the type of person my mom was, and that's who she made me to be, and at some point it'll pay dividends, okay? Where was it going with this? So the lens I'm looking through is like, all right, now it's been 13 years. Like, I'm not looking at it with the fresh sadness of like, well, it's another Mother's Day without Mom. It's another Father's Day without Mom. It's like another point on the calendar. Like, it is just a cat. You don't ever want to say that back at the kid. It's not like we lost your mom. It's just joking. We can't afford a cat. Your stupid loser uncle's still here. Or your cousin, whatever. Your identical cousin. The one who can't get his life together is sleeping on the couch still. It's not like we lost one of the humans. Right? But it's still the same effect. So we'll piggyback off the greed, because that's what the industry does. So yesterday we started with writing a little goalie mask puzzle piece, keeping it PG, with the sunshine and a bird that tweets, and we can't decipher where everything could possibly be, because you never share anything about me. And it's just my mom on a throne, like, wah, 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 wah. And there's like a chained up lady boy in her flabby rolls. You know, we're such a good-looking family. Like, her last few years, we could hide the fact that, like, disaster's coming. But yeah, but the super serious eldest twin is just Mr. Serious Face. I'm gonna lose the love of my life, and this is what is Christmas. Oh man, I can't even enjoy Christmas. I work so hard for these moments, and now they're taking a picture of me. I'm not the star I used to be. There's no joy in life. So the lens I'm looking at with Mom is I'm trying to transition from content consumer. As much as I love to read, I don't show proof of it by reading anymore, because I'm looking at life through a different lens. The lens of, it's been 13 years, you have nothing meaningful written down on paper, and there's a purpose for that. I didn't trust the environment I was in once a plumber was let into my house and they violated me. And it doesn't matter why they violated me. It doesn't matter. What matters is it created an opportunity for me to be like, well, now I don't write anything down. At a time where I need absolute, like, fortress of solitude, and nobody touches my stuff. I got $3,000 to $5,000 worth of resellable equipment down here. I've got a mess. It's my security blanket, so that if you steal from me, you got to work pretty hard, or you take the things that you think, because look at this place right now. It's like the psychology behind my last ditch effort to secure what I considered my valuable items was all the rope I had to hang myself with in my recording studio. My recording studio was the hangman's noose, and knowing that someone could actually take the noose, could take the gallows, could take the executioner too, from my place, my living place, it meant that I shut down like Ishgard. I was like, we're done. Like, I'm not sharing anything of any value to anyone about what I've gone through, because this person decided to make me feel completely exposed. And I don't like, there's like, doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter if they're the guy who bought the house from me and called me daddy to my face and shared a hand-rolled cigarette. It does not matter that story arc. If you want that story arc, you'll have to work harder than me to get back to that place. What matters is, like, I couldn't sit here and reliably, regularly write thoughts down, finish my process, and turn it into something. I can write a song really quick. That's not a problem. I've proven that enough to make my sister's ex-boyfriend quit music briefly. Like, there are people who know how fast I can write, and they don't mess with me like other people mess with me. So in the grieving process, it changes throughout the years. But when it's a human, it's like, man, how are you going to get over this thing? Like, everything changes. Everything changes. Even worse is, it's like, no, we're a bunch of dumb rednecks who have been given great opportunities by God to live really happy, full lives. That's my family in a nutshell. But then there's, like, literally, like, because of how heavy and unimaginable grief can be, the matrix I'm writing everything through now is just the simple fact that we thought you'd say something by now. I was living in chronic pain. I found a way to lessen the pain, and then I finally had surgery to resolve most of the pain. And so you're seeing a completely different side of me than you never saw before, and it literally has everything to do with pain. So if you're like, wow, he has a lot more to say than he used to say, and since he's not in the mood to write a song about it, at least I'm starting to enjoy some of the content. All of it had to do with pain, and all of it had to do with, like, alright, pain and avoiding stigma. But now we're here. And the lens we're looking at through is like, I wrote a million timelines. I wrote timeline, yeah, I was just like, I don't see myself getting to the point where I can finish writing a book unless somebody literally immediately starts helping me. I've written my mom faking her own death for a million reasons. I've written the resurgence of guiding light coming back to the daytime airwaves to compete with the losers that are still trying their best to be good soap operas. But they're not ready to compete with what I can make. So I'll never get the chance to make it because they know. So it's like, alright, no one wants to help me with a soap opera. I've already written every timeline where we have a little bit too much on our plate because no one cares about the Santos family continuing. Alright. You're like, I miss you, so I turned to page 90 and 91. But I'm still clearly looking through the lens of life without my mom sucking my thumb. And then I go dumb. Right? You slow it down, you're like, this is the dad joke era. And I refuse to write dad jokes because this is the crutch that you guys have decided to defend the remaining treasure on. Okay. With this many crutches and not enough weed, I don't know what you guys are up to. So we'll segue into the writing matrix from the notes we haven't even shared. So this page and this page are connected. I wrote one reason for not finishing a musical piece in the current state of mind that I'm in. Segueing into a realistic effort to be a used car salesman about getting another cat for the girls. I'm impressed. You asked for a cat the same day. Whoa. I would never have the guts to ask my parents that. Like, I've already analyzed the financials and my lack of contribution to the house. I don't cook my own food. I don't do my own laundry. Like, I only mow the lawn if I know there's dollar bills on the other side of it. But I'm OCD, so like we don't whack the weeds anymore because there's just not a it's a sunken cost. Like, it's just more gasoline to make our yard look nice, and no one hangs out with us anymore. So I'm already taking on the defeatist responsibilities of my parents. Like, we don't put that much effort into our lawn at the moment because it's not a time for having our friends, because Brett's wife took him away from us, and we don't really have that many more friends after high school that we want to hang out with, so our yard goes to shit. Just we cut it so that the government doesn't send us nasty grams. So it's like, well, if I know that as a young kid, and we're only cutting our lawn so the government doesn't tell us, like, better clean your lawn or we're gonna come after you. And even I have no motivation to clean the lawn. Yeah, I wanna see a face and a name of anyone willing to work for that government. That's just strange behavior. Or the weasels that zigzagged around. So we're on West Denver. So yeah, I know this is like a rambling for Vic. We're in West Denver when Grandma's still alive. And someone's job was to go around each and every neighborhood and see if they could visually tell if we had structures that we didn't have permits for. You know, he's like, yeah, he brings up the basements a lot. Like, that basement doesn't have a building permit. Now it does, I bet. But nobody's basement had a building permit. Like, we just made our houses better and worth more value because that's what people used to do. They didn't have any intention on bouncing between states and trading up in equity like some kind of pyramid scheme. It was like, we need a bigger house for the family. We're probably going to die in this house, and hopefully the kids can keep the house. It's like, hopefully there's a reason to even stay in town. Like, that's the mentality. So there's no building permits for almost all the basements in the neighborhood, right? So I'm the snitch by saying that out loud, since I don't know. But every time a house changes hands, there's a theoretical value applied to the entire town of Denver. They assume that everyone's house was fixed up without a permit, and so everyone's houses, look, there's a theoretical cost, I can tell you, that is applied to everyone's house. If you got a basement, the government doesn't know how much the basement is worth. So everyone has been pre-approved for getting priced out of their own house and their own neighborhoods, with no explanation leading up to the 2000s. That's my theory. Because, like, somebody literally, some weasel, and I actually, oh yeah, I saw them face to face, and I was like, is this you? Like, is this really the battle you want to have? Because then, like, a week later, it's like, yep, here's a bill for that U-Haul, or not you. Here's a bill for that tuck shed. You don't have a right to have that tuck shed where it's at. So here's the fine for not having a license for that, or not having a permit for that tuck shed. You know, now that Nana's dead, now that Papa's dead, now that Uncle Gary's dead, it's like, here, the government wants its $1.05. It's like, really? Like, that's your job, to drive up and down these blocks and let them know if one of us has a shed that we didn't pay the government to have. What? You're telling me that this plot of land that you're taxing us for increasingly more every year, that thing that's been there since I was a child, you're going to charge me for it now? Well, thanks for the warning. No, I don't have much friends and family anymore. It'd be nice if I could light the fires of Gondor over this, but like, and all the rotting tools in that shed. Alright, I got you. So this is, we'll give you some setting and scenario for many people who pick up a hobby, a more glamorous hobby like music, and it starts to click for them. And we're gonna go with even YouTube's like, we don't use tags anymore, but you can put tags in if you think it'll help your video. It's like they're kind of dissuading you from using formulas to get more interaction with your videos. Very strange. So I'm going to go on a little bit of an experiment with tags, and I'm going to hide some ideas in the video itself. Now, I don't know what video I'll put this in, but we'll treat this first one as a freebie in this video where I don't tag it, but it's at least it's gobbled up by the AI that makes the captions. So the idea is, we'll go back to the earlier video where I was insinuating we repeat words a lot when we pray. We say like when you're communicating a thought. And so I challenged myself to try to write a tutorial that can also be hidden in the tags, exactly how you wrote the notes down the first time. I'm using commas to replace but, of, ums, periods, or I'm running out of space on the end of the page. And so I try to make sure that my next thought is either a complete thought, or the portion that fits on the page is a complete thought by itself, and then it wraps around, and then going out of my way to not write a comma when that's its own thought, but together without a comma, that's a third thought, if that makes sense. And then we'll call it tags instead of clarity, and then the goal is commas instead of this, and this, and this, and this. And then the overreaching lens that you're looking at is a lot of people picked up music, and there's no cliff your emotions and heart is about to go over, but you also have the network and the tools to accomplish it. So we're talking about the shed and having to pay the government to use the tools that are falling apart. 1 minute you wake up, and 1 minute, comma, you wake up, comma, you're writing your own soundtrack, comma. All of your tools, comma, they fall apart, comma. They can't handle, page break, the task, comma. Picking up where you left off, page break. Some folk, comma, ain't there yet, comma. Having not, page break, having not a thought, comma, to begin, comma, with an empty page. If you don't have a thought, you open up a book and you just start somewhere. Comma, coma, allet, what?